Joining us now is former GOP national spokeswoman Elizabeth Pipko. Elizabeth, thank you for joining us on Power Hour. Donald Trump has answered more than 1,000 questions in his first month of his second term. Joe Biden took 141. And just to put that in perspective, Donald Trump took his 164th question by the end of his third day. I like to see the transparency, a president that is taking 1,000 questions a month, but will this transparency help him politically in the long run?
Now, when it comes to transparency, look, I have supported President Trump. I've worked for President Trump for nearly 8 years now. I remember in 2016, I was 20 years old, right? I did not have any history in politics. I didn't know who I supported, who I didn't. All I knew was that Donald Trump was different, right? He had no interest in being a politician. He wanted to answer questions. He showed up to interviews and actually answered questions no matter where they came from. And by the way, unlike other politicians and other celebrities, without hearing those questions before he arrived. That is what makes Donald Trump different. He's always been the most transparent candidate, certainly the most transparent candidate of my lifetime. That's why I appreciate him as much as I do. And that's why I'm so grateful for him, because I think he set a precedent for what will happen after he's out of office and what the American people can expect from those on both the right and the left. I can only imagine it's going to come with some controversy in the media, but with that, a lot of benefit with the support of the American people who are desperate for this kind of transparency, especially after the polar opposite of that, actually a president in hiding that we saw for the last 4 years of Joe Biden's presidency.
Oh, absolutely. And isn't it refreshing to have someone, a leader who says what he thinks, who's unpredictable, and it's just the complete opposite of those scripted, rehearsed lines that are, telling you absolutely nothing. The House has passed a framework for sweeping multi-trillion-dollar plans to address defence, energy, immigration and tax policy. Now, this includes proposals that the president campaigned on, like no taxes on tips, overtime or social security. Now, no tax on tips, that's certainly a significant one. How is that going to impact millions of Americans?
Well, look, we can only assume that millions of Americans are supportive of that initiative, right? Because Donald Trump won the election with pitching ideas just like that. The fact is he won because of who he was on the campaign trail. He was not this lifelong politician who promised things that we knew for a fact he would not deliver on. It was the exact opposite. He went up to the microphone every single day, whether at a rally or a press conference or an interview, told the American people what he was going to do knowingly, right, upsetting certain people at the same time. He had no interest in scoring petty political points. He was on the campaign trail telling the truth every single day, knowing it upset people very often, but at the same time knowing that he was going to lay out exactly what he intended to do for the American people. That's the difference between Donald Trump and those that came before him on the left and the right. He has been in office less than 2 months and has already stuck to every single promise he made on the campaign trail, which obviously is the reason he got elected. I can only imagine the American people are ecstatic to know that. They're ecstatic to know someone is going in and trying to put money back in the pockets of the American people and not in their fellow elected officials' pockets. That's already quite the nice change. So we have to see what happens with this vote. Obviously, it has to continue on to the Senate. We have a long future ahead of us right now, and obviously with 4 more years of Donald Trump's policies being put forth for votes. But the fact is he's doing what he said he was going to do. That is all that matters. That's what the American people voted for, and that is a new and wonderful change for all of us.
Elizabeth Pipko, former GOP national spokeswoman, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.